Yeah. All right. Here we go.
All right, moving on. Sports episode number 9. How we doing, Sam?
Doing well. Kind of just ready for football to be over. Kind of, like it's kind of crazy. I always like I don't know if you like remember feelings, like or just kind of mindsets of where you were, I guess.
Okay.
But I remember definitely for this football season and like I guess probably other ones, but like that couple weeks where you do like the fantasy draft and then it's like leading up the preseason and leading up to the football, it's like I'm just jonesing, like watching every content I can and like highlights. I get like I'm like an addict, and then now it's kind of funny where it's like I'm over it and just kind of ready for it to be over. What about you?
It is funny. I feel the exact same way. It's just I think when your team's out, it
Yeah.
just kind of drags a little, and you get a little maybe it's a little jealousy watching the other guys, and I
Yeah,
think it's a little hard this year too with like the Eagles, Chiefs because they've been so successful recently. So
yeah,
but some great games over the weekend.
yeah.
Um, we had Eagles Commanders. I mean, Eagles just freaking dominated pretty much. I would say it was a little closer than the score for the first half. And then it kind of got out of hand. Great first drive by Commanders. It kind of felt to me like it was a little different, but it felt similar to the Notre Dame Ohio State game where like their first drive, they really executed well, and then they ended up getting held for a field goal. Brady wanted them to go for it again. They kick a nice field goal, go up 3, and then like was it like first play? Saquon takes it to the house. I think it was like
first play.
Yeah, I mean that dude is just incredibly special. Being able to get him for $14 million is insane because he's like such a playmaker and just such a game changer to your team. So, but yeah, I definitely am fatigued on football and look ready for baseball, which is kind of funny. But I think I'm just ready for baseball.
So it's funny that you mentioned like Notre Dame, Ohio State, and maybe this is like a mindset thing where you always just connect events or things to things that you're like most into or most maybe like not emotionally over. Because I immediately just saw like the Packers game where it's like just shot yourself in the foot. You look competitive. If like things went your way, you didn't like screw it up. You would have done it right. I saw one thing interesting. This was actually during the Notre Dame game that like Notre Dame scored right away, right? And then someone on Twitter was like, well, let's see how they do when the drives aren't scripted. And I always just kind of forget that. Like I know that that's a thing, right? That like a drive or two or maybe a quarter is scripted and teams usually come out of the gate pretty hot. I would say kind of like underdog teams too. Because I think they're just like going full at it, just like shooting their best shot, like want to get the momentum going. And then that always like lulls me into like betting where it's like, oh, they're competitive. They can actually do it. But I think it's like really what I need to like focus on, and I guess this is more of like a betting thing, is like let the underdog score first, then like let the other team, and then like immediately bet on like the favorite. I think that's like a winning play almost always because like then the line will shift pretty over. They get the ball back, so it's like not only do they have that drive, but then they have the second half drive usually if the underdog starts first. I know that just seems like a perfect scenario to capture juice type thing. And other
that the scripted plays. I would say this though, like it's hard to script an entire drive because you don't really know. Like,
but I think they do. I think they do though.
Well, not the full drive though, because you just don't know what if we get a first down on second down? Like then you know what I mean? Like it's just. I will say this though, I mean, if you really I would be careful with that because to be honest, the NFL is pretty scripted the entire game. And yeah, people will say things like, "Oh, that drive is scripted," but they're pretty much saying on Thursday and Friday, the coaches are getting together and saying, "Hey, when it's 3rd and 3, what's our top, play calls when it's 3rd and 4, when it's 3rd and 7. So they kind of have a couple ideas. And like, for example, the Notre Dame game, long drive, a lot of quarterback running. Second drive, they ran about 9 minutes off the clock too. So it just like was kind of a weird play drive. Then the second drive, it was incomplete pass, false start, hold. So now you're at 3rd and 20 or 2nd and 25.
Yeah,
and
you're done.
So it's like that drive just is fucked no matter what. You know what I mean? So I do like it. I do like the big swing, and you're thinking too, like the favorite team's going to get the ball to start the second half. Then, so if you see, I guess to make it a little more, if you see an underdog get the ball, go down and score,
immediately bet on the favorite.
I like it. I like that. Yeah.
The other thing that I thought about, so it's like, we talk about like strength or talent, right? Like, like Josh Allen is so good at like running, not throwing picks, just like, I guess, like strengths, right, of football players, or I guess players in general. But I think specifically for football, like one thing I guess I think because it's nebulous, but I really think is a valid thing is like a skill at winning. You could call it clutch, you could call it calm under pressure, but it's just like seeing Jalen Hurts and Mahomes. They seem like they're way more skilled at winning than their competition. Like for Josh Allen, for how awesome he is, like that first drive, like where he almost threw like 2 picks and he just looked shaky. And yeah, he like settled down, but like he just like Mahomes is just leagues above him. And like whether it's, I've been here before, I've won it, so I already have that like mindset of winning, or just something innate in him. I also just think about like Brady, right? Like where he won all that in Michigan and then comes out and then he's just a winner. Like I just think that there's some actual, maybe not tangible, but like it's an actual skill that you can have, like being a winner. And I don't know if you can teach that, or if it's like you need success at it, if it's mental resiliency. It's like all these people going to like sports psychologists, is that's the way to level up in that category. But it's something that I really think I've underrated. I just think like, oh, like they won because they're more talented or whatever, but I just, there's something there that it's its own category,
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think experience can help, maybe tamper some of it, but I think it's tough too, because you could say like Lamar and Josh, they both have played a decent amount of playoff games now, but they still just don't quite take it over. But I still think they're feeling that pressure. What would be really interesting would be if you could see their heart rate monitor and see if like, is Josh, like, is his heart, because like sometimes
freaking out.
It's not like you can control it when you're having those moments, and not like, say you're in just like you're just sitting out at a restaurant and all of a sudden something weird happened, or something, just like some unexpected, your heart just starts going a little bit, or I don't know. And it's not like you can just immediately just be like, whoa. But some people, I think you're right, do just have the ability to just be calmer in those moments, or they're just so. I think a big part too is when you have those like moments of freak out, you go back. It's in golf too. You go back to your habits, right? So if you grind, and that's why it's really important for kickers and golfers to have a routine, so that when you have like those moments where your mind is like fucking lost and there's a million things going on, it's like, just do my fucking routine. And it's tough when you're a quarterback, because it's not like you can just do your routine. But yeah, I do definitely think there is like, I do think it's innate, though, like you're saying. I do think certain people just have an ability to handle those moments better than others.
And actually, I think you're really onto something here. So, like, you think of like Josh Allen, right? You came out, he was really turnover prone, whatever, right? And so, like, in that stressful moments, like, then he's like developed it, worked on it, trained it. But like in those stressful moments, you revert to what you are, And I think that is a very, like, I think that could be like a really important thought, a really important thing, right? So it's like, if you come out being a certain way and you like improve or whatever, maybe, or like more likely, when push comes to shove, you're going to go back into what that is, So Caleb Williams, for example, he could be great, awesome, but like his first season, just getting sacked all the fucking time, like that might be what he is, right? Like he's just going to take a sack at the big critical moment. He's going to freak out. Kind of worryingly, Jordan Love, right, came out pretty inaccurate, and had to like work on his footwork, work on all that stuff. Does that portend doom for him a little bit? But then you have Aaron Rodgers on the other hand, right, where like he had to do all of it and it kind of worked out, but like kind of didn't, and Brett Favre.
Like I don't know, like to me, I don't think Aaron was really that clutch. Like I don't.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like you look at stats, like
he was
something showing like one of the best playoff performers ever,
and he had like crazy, like the Dallas drive,
and like never has had a like. The only time he's had a top 10 defense was when he won the Super Bowl. And you look at like Brady has always had top 10, and like Mahomes too. And I think that totally gets lost in this. Like Eagles, right? Like fucking that Eagles defense is ridiculous, right? And it's like basically, I think these teams, it's like an iceberg, or where it's like the quarterback is like the top part flowing through the water, and the defense is like that part, like actually the mass of it. And then it's like I saw too a stat like Packers playoff success on defense was the best in the NFL or in the NFL playoffs so far.
Wow.
So like that makes me feel really good, and like that's kind of cope that I'm gonna like rely on, because it's like that fits so well into like my narrative here.
Yeah, no, Halfley. I mean, and then watching the way we played the Eagles the first game of the year, I was pretty happy with how our defense came out.
Yeah.
And then our last game of the year, and they could win it all. We held on pretty good.
Yeah, to like nothing compared to like what he's done. Like it was phenomenal. And like AJ Brown, like I think he went like 2 quarters without making a pass completion.
Yeah,
like longer than
And we're not really like losing any main dudes. And you could say we can definitely improve on the like pass rush side of things. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, we fired our D-line coach. Like there's talent there. This draft is supposedly stocked with D-line. We have a ton of money for free agency. Like it's like I'm like, oh, bring back TJ Slayton, blah blah blah. But it's kind of like, fuck, just get younger. Like replacement cost. It's like you want to stick with what you know. Kind of what you mentioned over like text, right? Like people are so afraid to change. And I think that's a little bit with TJ Slayton, where it's like, oh, he's great. I think like Kenny Clark too, where it's like, oh, he's been great for us, like whatever. But I'm at the point where it's like, fucking just cut him. Like
let it roll.
Yeah,
How about this? Well, I was reading this. Daniel Jeremiah, he's on the NFL Network. Good, great for us scouting and draft.
Yeah.
He was saying that between picks 20 and 60, it's like very similar in that range, and that's where there's a lot of talent. Not a ton of. It's kind of like weird up top. It's like Cam and Shedeur Sanders, and it's kind of like there are some talented dudes. That Bill Carter would be fucking awesome. Yeah. But do you? And I hate saying this, but do you take our 23rd pick and do we maybe drop down to like 30, but pick up another guy in that range?
Yeah, I think you do.
All of a sudden we have 3 20 to 60 guys come in again, and it's like
I think you do. I mean, like first round picks it's like the first round pick is like the actual third round pick curse for the Packers, Like although it's like watching Oren Burks like ball out, like that just makes me really upset. And I think Goody must be losing his mind, where I think his process is sound, where he's identifying talent, but we're just not utilizing it correctly. And maybe he's getting a little bit more like, I'm just drafting like best available instead of what's best available for my roster, if that makes sense, But it's like, then do you just try to fit like, and then that probably lowers your ceiling, right? If you're just drafting best available for your roster rather than like trying to be better. I don't know. I feel good. Really good about the Packers.
How I kind of see it is like you take best available, and then see like when I like control like a Madden franchise, it's like you take best available, and then they're worth more, and then you can be a little more aggressive, like if you want to trade them or if you want to do something with them.
Yeah, because you just have more value.
Yeah. So, but it's not really how it ever works in the NFL. I was looking back on the 2022 draft because it's like this is kind of wild actually, because it was kind of similar, and people, have debated the whole Quay Walker draft pick a lot and Devontae Wyatt. So we take Quay Walker at 22, Devontae Wyatt at 28, and then we take Christian Watson at 34. Which is pretty crazy. Like, that's 3 very high draft picks right there.
And we traded up for Watson with the
we went and got Watson, and I mean, I'm fine. I was kind of fine with all those picks, to be honest, at the time. So if we add a similar group of players, are you happy after this draft? Like, kind of looking.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I could talk myself into anything,
Yeah.
I mean,
I would really like. I just want like an athletic defensive edge / tackle, like a Chris Jones, a Verse, a Jalen Carter.
That Mason Graham guy looks pretty
Loftus, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant.
Yeah.
Maybe Shamar Stewart, the Texas A&M guy.
Yeah, he looks pretty freaky.
Yeah. I just want some freak up front. I would prefer maybe a little more production, because like Rashawn Gary, he was always like the freak athlete, and I think he'll be fine. Honestly, I think he'll be better. He's probably a guy that needs like a full year playing in the system to.
And he was really great at run defense. Like, kind of weird. Like, he like kind of abandons what he's good at to like focus on the area of weakness, and then but like you can just tell that he improves, right? Like, it's not like he's languishing. He's just improving and then like going back, and like, and I think that's also part of our scheme. Like, I think that we weren't trying that hard to get sacks. Like, we were just trying to get pressures and then like force the ball out, and then it would just be incomplete or whatever, right? And I think that's a pretty valid way to do it, Like, I don't think that's wrong. And we played a lot of mobile QBs where like not getting a sack but containing them is way better than getting a sack every once in a while and then having them run for like 30 yards. And I think that's kind of like where you step up in your like mindset of, what are you willing to give up? And if you're not willing to give up that stuff, like, it's okay not having sacks if you're getting the ball back,
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. Cam Jordan actually was just talking about this the other day, and he's honestly like a legend, and
I thought
that's a long career. And he said, like, people love looking at the sack numbers, but it's like these guys, they'll just blow by and they'll lose containment every play, and like they'll never stop the run, but they'll have like 12 sacks a year, and everyone thinks they're the greatest thing ever, but they're a negative to the team's plan.
Yeah.
And I think like what you're saying, the team has to kind of be working cohesively, and you got to be dependent on each other too. Like, you can't have some random dude just fucking running with his head chopped off, and you're like, fuck, now I got to go make up for what he's missing out. So I think you're right, honestly. And I think 6.5, what did he finish with? 6.5 sacks or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was fine for this year. It's just a couple moments. It's just like a couple plays, honestly, that you just wish we could like when you could just turn it on and off. But that's just being a fan too of like just wanting.
Well, and it just seems like, and I don't watch, I'm not into as much as like other teams, but it seems like we do great at pass rush, and then we're like rushing around the QB. Like, we beat him off the edge of a free thing, but we're like too far. They step up and then they throw it, right? And it's like
you're supposed to like once you get even,
and then you need the interior, and it's like it collapses, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to like reverse once you get even with the quarterback, but that's okay. All right, we're gonna get a new D-line coach, and hopefully, we'll get some improvement there. So, what do you think? Like, I mean, you seem pretty happy about our defense. What do you think?
I feel great about it.
So like when you look at the Packers, what do we got to do better next year? What's like the one thing that you think we got to do better?
Catch the ball.
Okay.
I think drops. Like, there's so many plays where we just had drops.
What was the drop? Were we the number one drop team in the NFL?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and then Jordan Love's like so much better, Like, and
I think Love is great. I think our defense is great. Josh Jacobs is great. Our special teams, I did think like our special teams, I was reading some stats on them, and
not good.
Besides not being good, it was just like this big painful mistakes too. Like the punt, and then it's just like And that's funny too, because I was like reading more. I was like, is this the worst team we've ever had? And then I'm like
No.
Ron Zook, Maurice Drayton, like we had some rough years.
Yeah.
So, but here it goes. We finished last in special teams grade at PFF. Unit had 30 missed tackles, 21 penalties, 3 muff punts. Nixon's fumbled kickoff return. Narveson missed 5 field goals in the first 6 games. And Wayland, who seemed like he was doing okay, finished 26 out of 29 in net punting. So it's nice to clean. You gotta just clean up that stuff, and that's just execution. I think I don't want to like get too negative on the whole Bisaccia thing because we're stuck with him for another year. We extended him.
Well, probably longer than that if we extend him.
Or a couple, and we gave him like more power too, which was kind of interesting.
Well, so I think I kind of like it, an idea where like Bisaccia just seems like the kind of like the adult in the room. Not like Matt LaFleur isn't, but like Bisaccia seems like the kind of grizzled, like kind of I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like just kind of solid guy. And I think him doing like critical moments and just offloading that like responsibility to someone else, I think was just always a good thing. That like I think LaFleur just gets too amped up and he just kind of like freaks out, and so offloading to anyone I would have been happy with. And like I think Bisaccia actually probably would be good at it. He seems kind of like pretty chill on the sidelines when I see him, right? And like Packers, if they believe in him still, like special teams, all right, whatever, I guess. So it's like we had Narveson, blah, blah, blah. But we also found McManus, so like Goot, and I think like just trying to get younger, like I get the whole ethos, like you just want to have the young team and then develop everyone together. But I don't know if we talked about this before, but we looked at like all the youngest teams in the NFL and like what their records were. No one was like over 500 except for the Packers for the last like decade. So, and I think like Goot's probably realizing that, where it's like, like you kind of need veterans too, right? To push you over the edge, right? Like it's great to do it in a cheap and awesome develop in-house, but like you also need, and I think this is the off season to like, like have that yin and yang approach, right? We have all this young stuff, but then have some veterans in there. And then they'll all work pretty well together. So,
yeah, no, I think that's a great point too. And I do think like Goody has a lot bigger of a plan here. Like, it's not like he put this together knowing Jordan Love was going to be the guy and we were going to make the playoffs last year, beat Dallas. And like, he thought he thought like Aaron Rodgers was moving on. We're going to kind of have to build this whole team. And what I like about our team is like, we see very deep across the board. It's not like I see a ton of weak spots, and we've drafted. We talk about it like we'd love to have a couple of those high end guys just to take us over the edge, but we're a very deep team, and I think like that says a lot that we
deep and cheap
can be this team and still like not quite have a couple of guys and like a couple injuries too, like really like a Watson injury, and Elton Jenkins, like a couple of those things change. Eagles game might be a little different. So even Jordan Love, like all year, just battling. Annoying. So, I'm excited. I think we're close.
Yeah.
I think
I saw one like since like Goody's tenure, we have the 3rd best winning record in the league. And I think that always just grounds me where like you can be frustrated and like, oh, like the Chiefs or whatever, but I think that's something that you luck into almost, like you can only if you can do the best at your job, and then you can only go like so far, right? Or like the Eagles, I think, credit to them, but they've had a lot of picks like fall their way, and it's like you just have to get lucky, Like I think we're just really spoiled that we have. I don't know. We've just had so much success, and like imagine if like this was like the Brewers are kind of like this, right? Where it's like we're this good, but like like we're like that winning percentage, and I guess it's been similar, where it's just I don't know, just being so successful,
craving that next level, but you are always
edging. You're like always
one team is going to win it all at the end of the day. So it's like you're always in a spot where it's possible that you could be that team. Like hopefully,
it's just a dice roll.
It happens, So
you just need bites of the apple.
Yeah, no, I do think that's I mean, I think that's the right way to do it, honestly. I know it's like emotional and we all freak out and overreact all the time, and I definitely do, but I think now that we've had a couple weeks, I think it's like we're in a good spot. I'm excited. I'm kind of excited for the draft, honestly. It'll be, I mean, the Super Bowl will be fun to watch, but
Yeah.
the draft. Do you think who are you feeling, Kansas City or Philly?
I don't know. I mean, I feel Kansas City, but then I think everyone's like now like, oh, Kansas City's gonna win it all. Like I feel like it goes the other way, but then it's just Mahomes, and
Yeah.
then I don't know. I don't know.
Andy, I will shout out though the Andy Reid and Spags have just been dialing up
Yeah.
the past 2 weeks,
The
and
perfect play at the perfect time.
yeah, defense, offense. The third down play to end the game pretty much was awesome. The running back leaking out, the blitz, confusing Allen. I thought Kincaid maybe could have caught it. It was a tough play. It was a hell of a throw, honestly, down there. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think Josh played bad necessarily.
It was like predictable. Like, so they did all predictable shit, like on gotta have it stuff. Like, and that's like you don't have the balls for it, and it like reminds me, and I keep bringing everything LaFleur, but like whatever. This is for us. It just reminds me of Matt LaFleur, where it's like everyone knows what you're gonna do and you still do it, and it's like eventually that shit's not gonna work. Like that would be a perfect time to like back up, throw like a little lob to a player over it, and you just like score a touchdown,
Yeah.
It's just like I think it's like you get so in that moment and you're like afraid to lose rather than you're playing to win, and it's just like the whole ethos I think of the Bills is like they're cucks, it's like a cuck mindset.
Yeah, I don't think I had a moment this year where like I was surprised by a play.
By anything. Yeah, exactly.
Like even the jet sweep, random stuff we do, or maybe it was negative. I'd be like, "Are you serious? We actually fucking handed that shit off."
Yeah, I mean, it's like everyone knows what we're doing, and it's just like it's just scared to. And like the one thing I give Campbell credit for is like they did so much shit that you never would expect. Like, are they like that Packers game? Like, are they really going to go for it on that fourth down to like win the game? Yeah, and they did. They did. And like we didn't think they would. The players probably didn't. But they did, and they believed in it, and it's like they won.
And what's crazy is if you look at like history, like the Patriots they were like notorious for doing some. Like, they threw the ball to fucking Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. They did Edelman throwing the ball at times. Like they're always doing some weird play, especially during the playoffs when it mattered most. And I think the Chiefs don't really have to like get too funky, but they just have a lot of like fun plays with fast dudes running around. So it's like good enough.
It's like serious funky. It's like a serious clown.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Miami Dolphins a little bit. Like their offense is a little like fun, funky at times. I thought they kind of took a step back this year, to be honest. I thought last year they were a little more creative, but yeah, the Bills, you're right. They were just kind of like pretty straight edge. It was kind of like a Buffalo Northern football team, run the ball,
It was just missionary sex.
Just missionary, just straight missionary. And you lose by 3. They had a chance. I mean, it was a good game, great game.
Now 0-4, 0-4, and like I saw that like narrative like in that parallel right with Super Bowls, and I was like, oh, they're gonna break it, and it's like no, cuck teams stay cuck teams, and like I think that was one of the first episodes that we had where it's like cuck teams stay cuck teams.
Brutal.
They do.
Listen, Nick Wright. Did you know that they actually traded the Mahomes pick? The Bills had that pick, but at the time they had Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback. So they traded back. Mahomes traded up, and he was comparing it to the Babe Ruth trade and like how now you're just going to be cursed forever.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Kind of crazy though if you think about it. Like literally, you had that pick that drafted Mahomes. Crazy.
Some people were meant to suffer on this planet, and like I think we just don't like to think that way. Like, oh, everyone deserves happy. No, some people are just meant to suffer, and that's all they will ever do.
It's painful, man. Bills fans, they're breaking down on media. They're losing it. They can't believe they're like questioning reality, questioning their life and how much team and effort they put all into it. And
hey,
it's hard.
the Lake Erie bros. All of them I think the Lake Erie Bows is like the abyss of despair. Because everyone around it, right, is just miserable. Browns, Bills, Lions. Something about that lake.
Do you think that if you're a Bills fan, who are you cheering for in the next game?
Someone to like put a gun in your mouth, I guess. I mean, probably like realistically, because we said they're cocks, the Chiefs. I bet they won't ever admit that, but that's probably what they want to.
Because you don't want to be like, oh,
Yeah.
the Eagles could do it, but we couldn't.
Yeah.
So, but you don't.
And you never want to admit that you're cheering from, but you're probably like vicariously like, oh, I'm having success through them, you know?
Yeah. Like, oh, it's like when the SEC wins and you're like, and all those teams would be like, oh yeah, Bama, they're so good. It's like you're going to Vanderbilt, dude.
Yeah. Although Vanderbilt beat Bama, right? You know, this year.
That's true. That is true. Times are changing. All right. I do think that the Eagles' defensive line is going to be the difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
They're just crazy. Karlaftis is playing really well, I will say. But I do think that Hurts, he's just going to like do what he needs to get done. He runs at times. He'll do the quarterback sneaks. They are a little banged up front. I saw Dickerson's hurt and Jurgens was playing through a brutal knee injury, and he just kept, and like the tush pushes are just like, I mean, his knee's got to be screaming that entire game. So, props to him for battling through it. But defense, man, if they can get it done, I think it's going to be defense, and then freaking Saquon just doing his thing. And they do have a great offensive line, and then you got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert when you need them. So, very talented team. It's almost like underrated a little bit because Hurts isn't the flashiest guy, but he's not like trying to be flashy. He's just trying to.
I think that's where he's success at, is that he's not trying to be a superhero. And I think that makes him, that's like his superhero power, is like he is doing his role, right? Like do your job. He's doing his job.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. Cheers to him, man. He's playing great. And good luck, because personally, the Chiefs they just kind of drive me nuts watching them win. I do just like, part of me, like, it's annoying watching the Chiefs, and there's part of me, it's kind of like with LeBron, you want to appreciate greatness while you're watching.
Yeah.
But, 2 in a row, 3 in a row would be a lot. And who knows if
the league needs villains. It's a good thing.
That's true. And we got one.
Yeah.
MLB now, don't we?
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. All right. Should we move on to baseball?
Well, I think let's talk a little bit about like maybe the Bears, like Bears coaching, and like maybe Lions coaching a little bit. I think that's probably something that's warranted. Especially the Bears getting that like 28-year-old or whatever it is as OC. That kind of blew me away.
Where did he come from?
Denver.
Denver, yeah, that was a
He's
crazy.
a Denver TE coach, tight end coach, and the Lions OC also came from Denver too,
which is interesting because they weren't necessarily the greatest offense.
No,
but the OC won't be calling plays, right?
No. Well, for either one, I guess. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, probably. I don't know, like what they'll. So all I saw was like Aaron Glenn and Jets is not going to be doing, like, he's not calling plays. I haven't looked into or haven't read. I would assume Ben Johnson would be calling plays for the Bears. And that kind of makes sense why you get this young guy, right? So you can just kind of have like a guy that's like super hungry, like probably innovative, right? And then he's just leaning hard towards like, I'm going to be a future offense, right? And for the Bears, you're a Bears fan, you're like, holy shit, like, is this even legal, right? That we can be like think of Bears being cutting edge of passing. Like if you told someone that like a year ago, 2 years ago, they think you're like crazy. So, and I think that's what they probably need to do to break out of their funk, is just be that type of team, or they try to be that type of team.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the hire. I think it is hard to find those top end guys when you're not going to have play calling duties. because they want to be able to prove themselves and go get jobs and head coaching jobs, right?
Yeah.
So you
So
got to
groom
take
a young guy.
And yeah, if you got a young guy who, I mean, working under Peyton, right? Working under Sean Payton, he did have a lot of success. And he had a great year this year. Worked with the Knicks, did a good job with him. I have no idea if the tight ends were good on Broncos, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. The funny, so who did the Detroit they picked up?
Detroit coach. OC.
Did they fill their defensive spot?
Martin.
My internet's being a little funky.
Morton,
Lions,
the Detroit
defense.
native. He worked alongside Lions head coach Dan Campbell and Sean Payton staff in New Orleans. Spent one season previous offensive coordinator in the Jets. Assistant. So he was like, he's pass game coordinator in 2024 and 2023.
So they just promoted him.
Yeah. Kind of interesting that they didn't go internal too. I think that kind of says something
about
Well, just like I think it was just like Ben Johnson, and like as a young guy, it kind of makes sense too. Like he just did it all himself. Like he wasn't like delegating at all, right? To anyone, like he wasn't trying to like help the next guy come up. Like if you have the number one offense in the league and you don't hire internally, I think that's kind of just concerning.
Yeah, that is kind of weird because I doubt Ben Johnson would take. I mean, he obviously didn't take people with him because he had to go out and hire others. So that is pretty odd. They did hire their defensive coordinator was promoted.
Dennis Allen. Oh yeah, he was for the Lions. Yeah.
So defense might be similar. It was their secondary, which I don't know if their secondary was necessarily that strong. I mean, they had better players. They drafted like Terry Arnold and Brian Branch the last couple of years, so they're playing better. But I thought their like defensive line was kind of their strength, and Jack Campbell like playing solid and stuff like that. But no, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then, did you see the Jaguars? Duval, dude.
Yeah, Duval. Yeah, bad vibes. Bad vibes.
Not the strongest energy, I would say, but maybe you don't need that nowadays. I don't know. It seems like the NFL is getting away from like some of the macho-ness. I don't know if it's working for those teams, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Dan Campbell's like the opposite, I would say.
I think so. I think it's like your head coach needs to mirror your culture of the city you're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think Jacksonville just seems kind of like a weird place. Like that seems like a fit. Like I almost think it's either going to really work out or it's going to be so bad that they do it on purpose so they can get like Arch Manning next year or whatever.
I
that's their plan.
It's going to work out, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Like he was really good, but like only being in a job for 2 years and like being such a stepping stone guy, like just that naked ambition is. It's like it's either really attractive or really concerning, you know?
It's crazy. Sorry, going back, but just with all these young guys getting hired, it's crazy to get hired as a 28-year-old. Like
I know that blows my mind.
You're only coaching for like 6 or 7 years total in your life.
Yeah.
And he must have been like connected and stuff as a young guy, but that's nuts.
I mean, like Ben John, like he's pretty young, right? Is he like 35?
Yeah, I think you're right.
38. He's 38.
Declan Doyle. I feel like this guy's got to be like
his dad, I guess, like did some fucked up stuff and
bad stuff.
Yeah, like Iowa. I don't know. His like dad did some weird stuff apparently.
Mm-hmm. So he was a student assistant at Iowa. He was hired by the Saints as an offensive assistant under Sean Payton, and he was kept by
racial disparities. His dad made racist comments and belittled players in Iowa. Woo. This was during the 2020 racial unrest.
Wow, Bears. Why? How could you do that?
That speaks more to Virginia. I think there's something there about
Ah,
yeah, but then you have like polls and then you have Warren. So that's kind of an interesting I think that tension can lead to success.
that's true. That's
Kind of
true.
like it's like remember the Titans.
Yeah. He must have just a really good relationship with Sean Payton. It looks like he started with Sean Payton,
Yeah.
and Sean Payton brought him over, and then got
No.
him his job.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
28.
The Sean Payton coaching tree is growing rapidly, I would say.
I think Sean Payton is like one of those guys that like I guess maybe I see it on Reddit more because they're kind of like they're like the epitome of cucks, but like social media is like Sean Payton sucks, he's a douche, blah blah blah. But like I think in like the coaching world, like Sean Payton's like pretty revered.
Oh yeah.
Like
what
I
he
think
did
he's like
was
like
crazy.
absolutely Shanahan level. It might even be more than Shanahan. Like
Yeah.
Shanahan is like definitely in the downswing, which is
Dude,
kind of crazy.
What Peyton was doing with Breeze, I don't think people like realize.
Yeah.
Like 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, like every year, and that dude
Yeah.
was 5'10". Like
Yeah.
that was crazy. Those are some
That's
crazy
crazy.
years.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore,
No.
and we're passing a lot, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Like I think we're definitely underrating like a Matt Ryan, a Drew Brees, Philip Rivers. Yeah. Like those guys were fucking, like that might be the peak of quarterback play. Aaron Rodgers, Peyton, like
Brady, yeah.
yeah, like everyone's like, oh, Mahomes, like yeah, sure, but like
Yeah.
I don't know, like Lamar, like would you rather have Breeze or Lamar? I'd take Breeze.
Yeah, no, Breeze was freaking awesome, man. He was just
Yeah.
so damn good, and he played for a really long time.
Yeah.
Good dude. Peyton did have the Bounty Gate scandal though, which honestly I never really.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing for your culture, right?
No, fucking, I don't care.
Yeah.
Go hit. Like honestly, you're getting paid to
hit. Yeah, it's like a bonus,
But-
and it's like a sacking incentive. Like no one has a problem with that, but then it's like, like
No, it's like as long as you're not like doing stuff after the play or anything. But I think it was all pretty within the game. Maybe going a little higher than usual.
Although
but
I heard like I'm gonna circle this back to Lions that like in scrums, like Lions players would like put fingers up dudes' butts and stuff like that. Like, yeah, like they're just like they're like a prison team.
see that's different though. It's like one thing just to like hit a dude really hard, but the
Yeah.
Lions guys, they just take it to like weird level. It's
They're like prison inmates.
it's like be cool about it. Don't be like fucking creepy and like sticking your fingers up people's asses and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like going
I
after
think
you're like ruining careers. Like CTE, that's okay. ACL, not okay. You know what I mean?
I think
You
at
can
the Super Bowl we should publicly execute Kirby Joseph. Just bring it out the guillotine, just fucking chop his head off.
He's like a
Allegedly, I want that. Allegedly.
Pro Bowl
Yeah.
safety. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's like
you
it's
know
like
the weird
psych.
thing, though? He never would get fined or anything for his stuff. That
No.
was kind of because they fine a lot of dudes nowadays for everything.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. Especially if you're a rookie. Like, I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like that
no,
should be prorated.
Yeah, 100%. So you're giving people like a $40,000 fine and they're making $700K a year. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, and like after taxes, right? So it's like a whole game check or two,
Yeah, it's like insane, honestly. I would definitely be appealing that. It'd be a good do they have to find lawyers or do the agents do that? I wonder how that works.
Yeah, I don't know.
That might be a good business. You could be like a appeal lawyer.
Yeah.
All the money you get back, you get like 10% of it or something.
Yeah.
Might be something there.
Might be something there. All right, baseball.
All right. I just want to Milwaukee. Moving on to Milwaukee Brewers 2025 preview. First,
you want to pull up the zips?
Sure.
Right.
First, want to give a quick shout out to our boy, our legend, Bob Uecker. Rest in peace.
Yep.
We'll have to do it for him this year.
Yeah.
And probably the greatest, the most famous 200 hitter ever. 50 years announcing, literally our entire lives. And Yeah, man, it was it's sad to see him go, but I think he had an awesome life. He was like 90 years old. He traveled around. He's a big Brewers guy. He kind of did all. He did movies. He did commercials. He was more than just like a radio guy, which is pretty cool because
Yeah.
it's hard to like
Yeah.
transition from
Transition
that.
that,
Like he was on late night TV shows. He's almost like a comedian. So many great stories came out about him too, like after he passed away. So we'll definitely miss him this year. And but glad we got to enjoy him for all those years because it was like lucky to have in Milwaukee such a legendary voice. So that's what I got to say about the Uke. What would you like to look at? Anything specifically?
let's look at the diamond. So I think one thing that kind of go up. Like just look at there. One like Woodruff being a 3.3. That's kind of like I think they're projecting like a full season of Woody and like get Woody Peralta, Myers.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw Cortez, so I was doing some like mostly fantasy related. But I was looking at like expected WOBA for pitchers. Like Cortez was like top 30, and that was kind of surprising to me. That he's been like pretty good. Like he's definitely for like a fifth starter. Like whatever, and like I think you're playing with the Brewers defense. Like his shit will play up. So I feel pretty good. And then I sent there's a Myers article on Fangraphs that was yesterday. And just like how it's tunneling, it's like pretty unique that like his changeup and fastball is like he will throw it at the top of the zone, so it looks like a fastball and it's placed like a fastball, but then it like differs away, and then he has those like slider or whatever. So it's like with his tunneling, it's like one of the best in the league in like separation and I guess just tunneling. And I think that's why like metrics just have him like way lower because like his stuff doesn't like just eye pop, right? It's not like the filthiest like movement and speed or whatever, but like his like command. And I remember just watching at the game, like he was just always like pop corners, like it just always seemed like his shit was dotted. And with the tunneling, I think like, and that's why.
What is tunneling? Can you explain?
Okay,
tunneling?
So tunneling is like basically you throw like two pitches, right? So it's like a fastball and we'll say like a changeup. And so what it is, it's like the release point coming out of the hand where it's released at for both pitches is like you want them to be the same as possible starting out, and then they differ. So it's like the more that they stay the same, but then you have like the like the late breaking differ. That's like the best. Like that's almost more important than it's probably one of probably the most important thing you can do as a pitcher because you only have like a blink of an eye to decide, and if it's like you take half that blink and it looks the exact same and it's like one or the other, right, then you basically just have to guess, and it just like throws people off. So like I think that's like where the new
those videos of like the overlays,
exactly
Tobias would have like one of the best ones pretty much.
But even like more like, and there's a guy on Twitter where he does like it's like kind of like plain, like it's like a pathing of it, and then it's like you see the stuff, and it's pretty interesting. But I think like I haven't like I've only a couple days.
Is that a metric? Is tunneling a metric, or is it just more?
It's more like visual. Like I don't think that there's a metric that they've tied it to yet. At least I haven't found it. There might be, but like I think that's probably like the new baseball stat that will come out. It's like like tunneled pitches. Like two pitches that are like the closest release point, whatever, and like how like the difference between the start of it and maybe end of it, and like the time spent, like there's something there, right? And where you can like quantify it. I think right now it's more like maybe teams have that in themselves or whatever, but at least publicly like knowledge doesn't seem like there is, but he's really good at that.
Do you think and that's similar too with like the change in speed, right? So say you throw 95 and then 85, 10 miles an hour, a lot tougher on the batter than if you
throw like speed and like if you can change the speed and direction but maintain all the other variables like the same, like then you're a phenomenal pitcher, right?
That'd be cool to be able to like figure or quantify that, I guess, for us as fans. But Tobias, sweet, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm really on him. Like Savali's kind of interesting, where it's like
I feel like Savali's gonna be better. 1.7. Well,
Yeah,
so this
I
is
know.
this
That's
is
like that
this
kind
is
of blew
wins
me away a
above.
little bit.
Is this wins above average?
Yeah, wins above replacement. Yeah.
So Savale. So I'll just read it off for our podcast listeners. So
Oh yeah.
starters, we got Freddie Peralta 3.1, wins above average. Woodruff 3.3, Savale 1.7, Myers 2.1, Cortez 2.7. So that's our starting five, and then they throw in Ashby and Hall 0.8 each.
hmm
Our 6th, 7th guys. So Savali at 1.7, I feel like that's a floor for him, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so
And I
too.
like that. I like that a lot. Dark horse Cy Young, honestly.
I think so too.
I'm serious. I still think,
Yeah.
and he played really well with us too. Like when
Yeah,
he
he
came
did.
out, and now, and we just, I mean, our pitching lab is just insane. And so I just always kind of bump our guys up. But I do think, I was talking with my dad about this stuff last night. I was like, I think like we're going to be really good this year. One guy who I'm kind of intrigued about.
Oh, I'm
Brandon.
gonna share. I'm just gonna share a thing real quick.
Okay, I can stop. Can we stop presenting?
Yeah, hold on. Screen. No, I'll just take it over.
Okay.
All right. Screen 2. All right. Ooh, good. So this is Savali. It's way grosser than I thought it was.
Bad.
Yeah. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Although xERA 4, walk rate, sure. I mean, he's fine. He's
but
fine.
that includes his time with Cleveland, right?
Yeah. Kind of saying his cutter is like just phenomenal.
We love cutters in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
We love.
Yeah.
So what's he throwing? He's threw a lot of pitches in 2024.
Yeah. I
So
think
you're both
like
concerned.
this is kind of like the tunneling thing a little bit here. I guess there's more movement, but yeah. All right.
Okay, so
Here you
go. Okay, so his Savant was maybe has some room for improvement, we could say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see. I just feel like
it's like and the name, I don't know, it just feels like you just feels sexy.
I know. And he played well with us. I'm gonna look up his splits. I just thought he was pretty solid with us. Who I really want to bounce back. It's not that he played that bad this year, but I think we're kind of dependent on him to be the guy, and it's Freddie Peralta.
Yeah.
Basketball Freddie. Last year there was a hype, like could he be a dark horse Cy Young? John Boy was saying that. And I don't want to say I would say he was like a solid 3 last year if you had to like just place him in your fantasy roster. But we need him to be a number 1 guy, and not like I think he brings everything well. He just seems to he kind of went back to the same issues of like the first inning stuff, early inning stuff, and I don't know. He just seemed to like struggle a lot at times. And
he couldn't put guys away. Like he'd be so good at getting like 0-2, and then he would and maybe I haven't looked this up, but I think he might like lead the league in like going from 0-2 to a walk. And like you look at his like walk percentage is like 9.5. Like that was he was like 12.5, 9.7, and I guess like it 2 years like 2022 and 2023 it was like 8.5 walk, and then last year 2023 is 7.9, and then he was like 30%. So it's like his walk rate jumped back up to 9.4. His K rate went down to 27.6. And it's like, I think that like he was just so close to like just putting guys away, and then he just wouldn't, and you get in his head about it. And like you can tell that the stuff is there because he could get this 2 strikes pretty easily. But then it just seems like maybe I blame a little bit of like Wilson Contreras, like not calling the right pitches. And I do think like Wilson Contreras, like for how awesome he is, he just seemed, William, my bad. He just seemed very predictable in like what he would call. And like, I think the nice thing was like when we had like Gary behind the plate, like he just seemed like he was more predictable at like what he would call. And I don't know. I hope they work on that.
Throwing off. Yeah. William Contreras, it was kind of an interesting year for him.
Yeah.
He's a 3.8. Wins above expected average on Zips. because he batted so well, but it felt like he took a little bit of a step back with like framing and calling games,
Defense.
especially defense. And it was like, dude, you can't like. It's really important for the catcher to not. I almost would think it's like more important for the catcher to just be a defensive guy. And hit, you're just like you're a phenom, and he's probably the best hitting catcher in big leagues last year.
Yeah.
But you gotta like keep that level on defense the same. I would say that's super important because like framing is such a big deal nowadays. Calling a good game. So, William, we need you to lock it in this year. But I mean, if
he's our best hitter on the team.
Yeah,
OPS plus.
Yeah, he was sick last year, man. I think he won
Silver Slugger. He won the Silver Slugger, I think.
Yeah, he did win. Okay. Yeah. Sweet.
And then Churio 2.9 Yelich. It'd be interesting to see like all the reports like back surgery went super well. Like just like Churio, like it seems like Churio, Mitchell are kind of like locked in, and like Mitchell, I think just flashes so much good stuff. Like he almost reminds me a little bit of Luis Robert, where it's like just stud, but like high K rate. And like I think you can trade that off, right? And so it'd be kind of interesting to see like, okay, like I guess ideal outfield, right, is like Yelly, Mitchell, Churio, and then like what do you do with like Sal, right? Like and then like Sal and Perkins, I think be kind of interesting, like maybe like injury, right? Because Mitchell hasn't proved that he can play a full season. Yelich back, like do we ease him into it, type thing? Does he DH more? So it's kind of like a little bit of wealth of riches, and I think it's just nice that like the defense all around is just should be like phenomenal in the outfield. So I feel really good about that. I feel really good about Ortiz because like after his neck injury, he just couldn't, like his whole stance changed, and I think he was just like just trying to like force it to work. And so like having like a neck injury is just really weird, right? And that seems like that's like similar to a back injury where it just seems crippling to like playing baseball as a hitter, So I think like a full season of healthy Ortiz, training, doing his thing. And like Durbin, I think has like the best contact rate of any minor leaguer. So, like there's some really exciting shit here. Even like Dunn looking at the zips, 80th percentile for Dunn. Is it Dunn? Yeah. Dunn is
dun.
or even Mike Bove, 80th percentile is 117 OPS. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Garrett Mitchell's 126. Like
one more thing to your defense. We also have Blake Perkins, who's going to come off the bench. He's probably the best, one of the best defenders in baseball. And so Churio, Frelick, Mitchell, Perkins, pretty freaking good. I don't know. Do you think we have the best defensive outfield in baseball?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I couldn't think.
I guess I'm trying to think of like who.
How's it get better? Right?
Like PCA is pretty good. Ian Happ's pretty good.
PCA, and
Ian Happ, right? Yeah. Well, then you have Tucker. You have Tucker.
Oh, Tucker now, yeah.
Yeah. So does Tucker play right field?
I
don't even know like how good he is at defense either.
I think he's solid, but more of a hitter. Yeah, it's a little concerning to be honest that they got him.
Like Tucker's really like he's a superstar.
Yeah, he's young too. I think he's like 29, 20. So yeah. I was kind of surprised the Astros just let him go. They just didn't want to pay him. Or the Astros?
Yeah, I think it's just money. Like it seems like their hard cap is like the second thing of the CBT, and I think that's why they traded Presley to remove that. And I think like they're pretty in on getting Bregman back, and I think that like makes sense for him. Although like just seeing Altuve play left field, I think just is hilarious. But I like that more baseball teams are like just so much more creative. Like just get your best players out there, and I think that's the way to do it. Like I think athletes are pretty good at being athletes and can figure out a position pretty quickly.
Isn't Altuve is like a horrible second baseman now, though.
Yeah.
Like
So maybe it'd be better actually. So maybe that's like better for their defense if he does.
Yeah,
that.
I think actually it might be better regardless of Bregman or who, because it's Isaac Paredes, right? They traded.
Yeah, and I think his defense. I don't know. I don't know if it's.
Is that the Tucker trade, right? Paredes.
Yeah. And it's like that. Well, Paredes and also like that Matt. Is it Cam Smith? And he's supposed to be really fucking good, actually. Like
that's interesting because Paredes was like a pretty. I mean, that was kind of a big thing to give up for the Cubs for Tucker.
Yeah. Well, so it's like the thing is, he's like one of the guys where it's like because he pulls like if you look at like his hit spray chart, here I'll share.
He just
yeah.
So he'll be really good in Houston. He'll be hitting to the
because like the Crawford box. Like, look at this. It's just it's like pretty insane. Like he's the most pull guy ever. And like the Cubs, it's like, and like the Cubs traded for him, it's like it was like kind of fucking stupid. And I think like Jed Hoyer is just not as smart as like other people. Like I think he just looks at. I think he looks at like he's probably good at like realize like looking at outcomes, being like, oh, this guy is awesome outcomes. Before forgetting like it's context dependent. You know, Wrigley is kind of fucking hard to hit homers out of like half the year when it's cold and windy. You know, like it's hard. Because he doesn't have super like big power. Like he's just so good at like doing this. And like the Crawford boxes are pretty short. So that's why it's like he's like a perfect fit. So like
his stats are not. I mean, what's the 11th percentile expected batting average? 11th. 11th slugging is honestly pretty surprising for him because you just think he mashes all the time, but he's
because like this is like predicting like you to be like everyone else, where you like because it breaks the system because the system's not good at realizing this is what you're trying to do, right? It's like thinking like you try to do everything versus like he's just trying to hit homers here.
Nice.
And it works for him.
He doesn't strike out much, though.
Yeah. What?
He doesn't strike out much, and he walks a decent amount, though.
So. Yeah. One of the best in the and that's kind of what you want. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it'll be fun to watch him hit homers, I guess, in Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go back to it.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think? Should we just go through position by position real quick?
Yeah.
Starters. We kind of did Peralta, Woody. We really need Woody to be. I think I don't know. I want so bad for Woody to come off the injury, and I don't think I can be like unbiased about this one. He's just a good dude. He's Woodruff. I want him to be so good, so badly. I just can't. There's nothing.
I think we're starting in a good place where it's like I don't have a 3.3 WAR expectations for him. You know, I don't believe I don't have the expectation for him to being our ace and having like a phenomenal career. Like if that happens, fan-fucking-tastic. But like if he's like our 3 guy, right? You know, like innings or whatever. You know, whatever it limits him. You know, maybe his stuff isn't as good. Maybe he can't go as long. You know, whatever. But like even just like for our team, I think we were like bottom 5 in like quality starts or like pitchers lasting to the 6. You know, and like so it's kind of fine for him where it's like okay, you do 5 really good innings and then because our bullpen is like elite and it's like and we just keep finding ways to get elite. I guess we'll get to that point a little bit, but so I think it's like a perfect situation for him to come back to. You know. So yeah, I'm like whatever one of Ashby and Hall, you know, like if they both miss, we're not fucked, you know. But if they both like one hits, it's really good, and if they both hit, you know, now we're like talking. If we do 6 starters, reliever, you know, like because both their stuff is like filthy, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. I think they're like the real wild cards that can like really put our team over the edge.
Yeah. Do you think any chance? I mean, on here, so for relievers, it says Miguel, Koenig, Payams, Hudson, Mears, Figueroa, Thomas, Uribe, Yoho, Hall, Misarowski, Ashby, and Anderson. Uribe is an interesting one. Is he going to? And I know he had the knee injury, and it just got a little weird last year, honestly. We kind of handed him the keys to the car, I would say, at the start of the year, and it was maybe a little too much too soon, like mentally handling it all. And then he ended up getting hurt, dropping down, and just kind of a weird year. He struggled a lot down there. He still throws a bunch of walks, but he obviously is super talented and has like great stuff. So I really hope he can kind of like be back to what he was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was trying to find this picture of so it did like the who has the best stuff plus in MLB. And like Uribe, it's like Uribe and McGill are like some of the best in like the whole game.
Nice.
Let's see that. Twitter. But even Mir's stuff, he's also up there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like Mears, I'm afraid he might be our like Matt Bush guy, where it's like the stuff looks good, but it just doesn't. Although like he kind of was really good, like he kind of was pretty good like going down the stretch, and kind of interesting too that like Hudson, right, like wasn't even on our playoff roster, because like injury or maybe his stuff just fell off. I don't know. Like that was just kind of weird.
He had a pretty good year. I think he was one of our better pitchers last year.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna share this. Yeah. So, and I got this guy in Dynasty. I'm pretty happy about Kevin Foster. He's really good. But Mason Miller, DeGrom, yeah, Tanner Scott, I thought was interesting. Like I didn't know.
What is actually Stuff Plus?
So Stuff Plus is like Saris, and it's like basically taking like how like it's kind of a combination of like how fast you throw it, like movement and all this stuff. Like it takes like a pitch characteristics and like what the outcomes are, and then it's like if you have a pitch that historically or like statistically has had really bad outcomes, like for the hitters, then your Stuff Plus goes up. So it's kind of like how filthy your stuff is and how much hitters statistically, like with all the pitches thrown, like with similar stuff, the outcome for it. So it's like basically just how filthy you are, as my understanding for it. Filthy. But it doesn't show like command. So there's like, I think it's like pitch plus, like there's Stuff Plus and there's like command plus. And then there's like another one that's like a third thing of like when you combine those two, it's like this is just how filthy you are. So like Uribe, McGill, Nick Mears, 23.
That's pretty ahead of Josh Hader. Wow.
I know, right? And then you have like random ones like Nate Pearson. I never even heard of this guy. Or Edwin Diaz is already 37th. Jared Jones like being this good was surprising to me. Just how many Presley's still being here.
Rogers.
Yeah, Luke Weaver, Rodon, kind of interesting.
That is interesting. Helsley, Class, Kase, Tanner Scott, Mason Miller, DeGrom, top 6. So Kopech,
you could have had 3, right? Like McGill, Williams, Uribe. Yeah. Even like Chapman still being 14th is just kind of mind blowing.
I know that dude is such a beast.
Yeah.
Just lefty, throwing it 100 miles an hour, not giving a shit.
Yeah.
Dude, nuts. What's he now, like 38, 39?
Yeah. One thing I thought was interesting. So, like going through, so like looking at like 80th percentile OPS plus. So Contreras 142, Churio, Yelly here, but Terang, this is kind of concerning here. But like the WAR is still pretty good. Like he has the second best 20th percentile WAR for Terang because his defense plays. Even Yelly and Sal. But one thing I thought Bove and Black, this is pretty interesting. That Bove could 80th percentile OPS plus of 117. And I think it's kind of interesting. He's not on the 40 man, or he's not a non-roster invite.
Yeah.
And we have like these like it's like Bove, Luke Adams, Bionti, and I think another guy where it's just like they look to be kind of superstar third baseman. And so kind of interesting, like that's why I don't think we like get a long-term young guy. And like maybe we just roll with what we got. Maybe these guys are like in-season call-ups, depending on how they do. Because we have a lot of guys kind of chomping at the bit that like would really solidify our core for the future.
Yeah. We've been kind of looking for a guy for a couple of years at third base now, and it seems like our strategy has been to kind of like let it play out, like the Brousseau, the Monasterio, Urias. We've just kind of been. It's not like we don't seem like we're super aggressive, and maybe we just don't value third base that high.
Yeah.
Obviously, it'd be nice to like have a dude that could lock it down, but it doesn't seem like we're investing a ton there, or we feel good about these guys who are coming up and we're just kind of like letting them battle it out a little bit. It'd be nice to just get a little bit of a power hitter over there, but so these are all projections, right, Bo?
Yeah, those are projections.
I mean, those are pretty they project
well, so it's like the 80th percentile, so it's like yeah, so like are they like the 80th best possible versus like 20th best here. So like Rhys Hoskins, right? You could like talk about like boom or bust, going from 124 OPS plus with a 41 slug. I think it's interesting that his slug 80th percentile 41 is still lower than what Cheerios could be at 494. So like Cheerio can like really, be a superstar.
Oh,
like, I mean this slash line 296, 346. I guess even the OBP is kind of interesting because I think like Cheerio, like I don't think it's like projecting as much that like Cheerio can cut down his chase, which I think he can because he's so young,
Yeah.
Even like Ortiz here, 117. One guy I also thought Jake Bowers, 114, 80th percentile OPS.
Yeah, he was kind of a nice guy to give a minor league contract. He played pretty well at times for us, honestly.
Yeah, and like what he had that home run. Did he have that home run, right? With some Mets? Yeah.
That's series,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that we were able to get him for like a minor league deal with a spring training invite. So
Cooper Pratt, 1.8 WAR here. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think he actually.
His 80th percentile is 243. Right.
Yeah.
Is he not an average guy?
He's just young. He's just so young.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like because it's like you play at AA, so it's like no matter like you basically just have to be so fucking good at AA for it to like be anything. Like you have to basically show good stuff. But it's kind of interesting though that like Luke Adams, right? You can have his best would be a 199 batting average, but just because he slugs so much that he could be a 101 OPS plus. Like I really like Luke Adams. Like his stuff seems awesome. Durbin and even Bo. Like I think Bo is a guy to look for. Like even being better than Tyler Black and like hitting 296. His slug being a little bit less than Black, which is kind of interesting. Isaac Collins, another guy, I think, because I think he's a catcher for us, and I think he might be the next like an underrated backup guy. Assuming Chiaro doesn't. He's left
pressure.
Yeah, there's like some catcher that like I heard that is supposed to be kind of interesting for us. I don't know who it is. His name is escaping. Even Brewer Hicklin, 112, 80th percentile.
That's kind of surprising, yeah.
Yeah,
these are pretty interesting to look at.
I know.
What's Garrett? What's Rhys Hoskins? Let's go through. Let's go around it.
Yeah. Okay. So Rhys Hoskins. So he's 124, 2.1 more, 80th percentile, 244 average, 41 slug, but his 20th is hitting, 198 shade under batting average, 373 slug, 85 OPS plus, -2 WAR, which is compared. That's 20th, but that's compared to what he did last year. He did. Was this last year? Yeah, so he hit 222. So 105. So it's kind of like not like last year almost seems kind of like his floor in terms of
That's what I
how
hope.
bad is projecting. And like that feels good. Like another year outside of his surgery.
What I like about him is he's pretty well liked on the team. Like he's kind of a leader on the team. He like works hard and stuff. So I think that I really hope that he like pulls it back this year because we're paying him like $18 million, and I don't want to say it's like holding us back from signing other dudes, but it might be. And it would be nice if he could live up to that paycheck, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
What would you be happy with? Like, what's your like? What does Reese need to do this year? And you'd be like, yeah, that was a good year for Reese. Good enough.
Probably like 25 dongers and hit 230 or higher.
With like a 7 OPS of like OPS plus of like
115 maybe. Because like his is like pretty dog shit, which sucks. And like he's so slow that like he basically like maybe it's more to like just don't do double plays as much. I don't mind if you strike out a bunch, but like like he just needs to lift the ball. Like just really he needs to avoid the ground outs. And I saw something where like, and this is really concerning to me, that he can't get the bat into inside pitches anymore. And so it's like he's like guessing, and that leads to like ground outs, just bad results because he just is not like leaning back, locked in, getting the high stuff, and then he can like wait on the low stuff, the soft stuff. Like he's just caught in between no man's land of where he can't quite get up to the fast stuff, and then so he's like too slow for the fast stuff, too fast for the slow stuff, and that just is the worst place to be because you're just doing soft contact or whiffing, and it's like ugh. And like and then he doesn't have the fallback option of like, well, he at least can like run fast, like he's just kind of one of the worst case scenarios to have as a first baseman. And I kind of get why we signed him, like the power and stuff, but like Ernesto Martinez, like I really like him. He's 25. He had an incredible year in AAA. I think he'll get some base time, but it's like he basically could do what Reese Hoskin does, but he's like faster and
better defense too.
And he's so cheap, yeah, and like better. Like he plays center field. This Ernesto guy does. So it's like you have like a guy that at least can play a little center field at first base. Like that's just night and day difference. Yeah, I think Arnold really regrets the Reese deal, and like I get it at the time. Like I don't. I think it was sound, but
this was only 2 years.
This is the last year.
Like we get through this, and then we're.
And I do think it's like, do we even have the balls of like do we DFA? Like are we willing to be that much of dicks for the team if it goes really poorly?
Down to it. Historically, we have not.
Yeah.
Ever DFA'd like anyone like that? I think it's just a clubhouse thing too. Like, we one thing I've been thinking about with our team is like we got to be careful about how we treat our players because I make things like the Corbin Burns talking about his Valentine's Day being ruined because of arbitration. But it does seem like this stuff is coming back and biting teams in the asses when they want to go sign guys, like the Red Sox letting whatever happened with them.
Yeah, with Mookie.
And now the Dodgers, everyone like loves the Dodgers. The players seem to really love the Dodgers, and that's why they're all kind of going there. It's like they get well respected, they get treated well. Why not? You're in LA.
Yeah.
So I think we just be a little careful on that stuff. And it's not like if it's going to have an effect, a negative effect, then, we might just have to eat it. But I hope we can turn it back. Should we keep going? Second base, Bryce Terang, Gold Glove.
All right. So Bryce Terang. So he, this is just batters like for hitting, right? So it's not about like his defense. But Terang is kind of far down here.
But he'll be a Gold Glover again, like right there.
Yeah. So 278, 80th percentile, 278, 344 OBP, which is kind of low OBP considering like 80th percentile. Like it's lower than Churio, Yelly, Frelick, Ortiz, Mitchell. Like Vinny Capra has a higher OBP than fucking Bryce Terang, which kind of
Luke
blows my
Adams is
mind.
like one.
Yeah,
Luke Adams is 199.
because he just walks so fucking much. I think it's because he just gets hit by so many pitches. Yeah, which I like, and there's like some talk like, is that a replicable skill? And it seems like it kind of is, right? Because like Mark Cannon is like the king of that, and it's so fucking annoying. It was annoying when the Mets, no, was it? It was who was the Mets guy? Winker when he got fucking hit all the time, and like that led to him being on the bases. Yeah.
It just changes the whole vibe of the game too when you get hit.
Yeah.
It's different than a walk, you know.
But even like Mike Bove, 361, which would be our third best projection or second best projection OBP of 80th percentile on our team, which is kind of fucking wild.
That is wild.
Yeah, and like how much, like I guess,
crazy.
like he's a potential superstar third baseman.
Terang's OPS 80th percentile plus is 105.
Yeah,
so they're not too happy about him. And then
the ceiling, yeah.
And then you go to his 20th, and it's 228 average, 292 on base, 327. His slugging is just never going to be.
It's never going to be there.
74 OPS plus. I'd be a little sad if that was reality.
But like the WAR, right? So he still would have the second most WAR 20th percentile. So it's kind of like,
does that?
I think that's a nice thing because the defense always plays, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of nice that it's like his defense is always just going to be there, and like the bat, yeah.
Okay, cool. Shortstop Joey Ortiz.
Yeah.
276. 445 slugging. That's pretty solid. And a 117. Nice, dude.
Yeah.
3.1 more. Yeah. I'm really excited about Joey.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like the shortstop, like putting him in charge or kind of like being the leader of the team now. I think it's going to be kind of exciting for him. He seems like a good dude. We did trade Burns for him. So
yeah,
it's pretty damn highly of him. So
yeah, just need him to be healthy. Like I really think I think he's going to be, like if I had to make a prediction of who's going to be our like breakout player this year, I would say I think it's Joey Ortiz.
Do you think our whole team, like he's like the most important guy, whether he becomes that guy or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, him or Churio, like if Churio takes like if he takes a step from first half to second half and does the same step from like, the second half to like this year, like we're talking top 3 best baseball player in the league, like that's pretty 100%. Fucking, yeah, that's kind of incredible to think about.
Dude, I think I don't know, maybe I'm getting ahead, but I already think he's going to be like, I almost think it's guaranteed that he's going to be that guy.
Nothing's ever guaranteed in baseball, but like,
no, it's not. But I mean, the way he like turned it on at the end of last year, you look at his batting average
and how clutch he was, and like fucking those homers.
Clutch, yeah. I mean, he batted 315 in June, 317 in July, 321 in August, 263 in September. I think his season was getting a little long for the rookie, but he still had an 831 OPS in September.
Yeah, and 20 years old.
He's freaking 20 years old, yeah.
Yeah, and expecting batting average, 274. Batting run value, 91 percentile already. Base running, 92nd. Fielding. Like he's like fucking 5-tooled, tooled up juice stud. I think the chase rate is just kind of like what hopefully can cut down like chase and whiff. And like, right, you're 20 years old facing major leaguers. Like,
yeah,
I think that's just like
the first time you've ever seen stuff like this. It's like different, right? Do you remember last year Willie would be like, oh, Churio, he always would come back to like, oh, it's just I'm just so good. I'm always just hitting home runs. Like he also has that little bit of like the attitude of like, I'm the fucking guy. And I love that for him. Like I think you need that to be, if you're going to be a top 5 player in baseball, like you got to know you're the guy. You got to carry yourself like you're Bryce Harper or whatever, Mike Trout, whoever it is. So like, I honestly think, I don't want to guarantee anything, but I think Churio is going to continue to get better than he was last year and be one of the top. I would say, I think he'll honestly battle for the MVP of the NL this year.
Yeah.
I think he'll be right.
Yeah.
And then we got, so third base we've talked about a lot. I guess we'll figure out who's there. Hopefully it's Baby. Bove or Baby or whatever. Stop
Bove,
looking at.
yeah. Bove. Yeah. And I think, yeah, like, and it's kind of interesting that I don't think he's gotten a roster invite. And that just seems weird to me that, like, why not?
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I would.
There's a thing.
Does it matter?
Well, I guess, I mean, they're still giving them out too. So there's a minor league baseball savant site that I found. So I'll pull up both. This is my fantasy tab, all my fantasy stuff here.
Baseball Savant should have bought this.
I know. Well, this guy just created it. It's like pretty new. Maybe that's what they're trying to do.
Nice. You're getting the most new information on this podcast, everyone.
Yeah, really. We're cutting edge. It's kind of cool.
Cutting edge technology here on Moving On Sports. Sam Graban, he is the autist in the basement. Going through all the stats. This is kind of where he shines, folks. So if you want to know anything about the Brewers, just send your questions in. Moving On Sports. We're here to help you out.
So look at that. I mean, so swing percentage, you don't really care about that. Because it's just like, all right, if you swing a lot, swing a lot, it doesn't really tell you much. But I mean, I know. And like, look at that. Like, just red everywhere. Z swing means like O swing, like how often do you swing at stuff inside the zone, and like Z swing is like something else. I don't know. I have to look it up. But there's something here. It's like I don't really like this stat, like this in swing percentage. It's like it's not like WRC plus where it's like an all encompassing. Like this is like even if it's low or if it's high, either way, it doesn't really tell you something. Like you can be good with this low, you can be bad with this low. You get what I'm kind of saying? Like it's just like a something to think about. But and everything else, like K, chase, whiff being so good, WOBA, all this stuff, walks per K, ISO, like just looks really good.
He's only 22, which is kind of surprising because it feels like he's been kind of hanging around for a while.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting, honestly.
It is pretty exciting. I want to show
143 WRC plus last year is pretty nuts.
And look at Ernesto Martinez Jr. This is the guy I was talking about, first base. Older, right? 25, AA, but he's a lefty, which is pretty nice. But good God, just red everywhere.
146 WRC plus, 284 average, 466 slugging. Yeah, damn.
146, yeah.
K rate 16%. Doesn't strike out much either. That's sweet.
No, like everything you want. Durbin.
Did he play third base or is he first? He's first.
He's first. Yeah.
First
so Durbin, like just wild profile. Like kind of like a South Prelay. Yeah. So he only played 7 games. Oops. Maybe he did more. Because we just got him, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I have to do it running the Yankees. Yeah. So I'll look at the Yankees.
When I saw the Zips projections, I was like, his batting average for 80th percentile is 260, and I thought that was a little low because isn't he like 5'6" or something like that?
Yeah, he's pretty short. He's like kind of like
he's just like a get on base kind of guy, and he gets a bunch of steals. And I don't know. To be honest, I don't really see him playing third. I almost see him playing more second base, but
I love what was
utility infielders are good, important.
Well, and it's just like his contact rate was so good. Was he at A? Was he at A ball? Maybe it's because he's not in the Yankees anymore. He's not on here. Yeah, it might be. Maybe he was. I'm going to show you. So, he did A ball, I think.
He had 82 games in AAA last year.
All right. Oh, maybe that's what it is. To go to AAA. Oh,
for the Yankees.
See, the one thing, it just keeps like disconnecting, which is super annoying.
It's new.
Yeah, it is new.
We can keep going while you're looking that up. So, obviously, right field, Cheerio is going to be a superstar. Center field, Mitchell's 80th is 277, 360, 460 slugging.
Yeah.
126 OPS plus. It's interesting because Mitchell, I feel like, is a little bit of an underrated power guy.
Yeah.
like he's not the biggest guy. He doesn't, but he does it, and he's been a little clutch too, right?
Yeah.
Like
He does it like I mean his first first at bat, right? When everyone's just like all about when he hit that grand slam,
yeah,
start the year when we just thought like we were like the best home run team ever. We thought Brian Anderson was the next coming of Acuna.
yeah. It's a fun month.
Yeah, that was a fun month.
The thing about him is I feel like he's never gonna have like a 450-foot bomb, but he gets a lot of hits that are like what 390, and they're like just over like right over the right field wall. And that counts just the same. So
it does.
So center field, left field is Christian Yelich, 288 batting average, 138 OPS plus. That's pretty crazy. And his 20th percentile is still a 1.1 WAR with a 3. That's the thing I love about Yelich is he has such a good eye, and I think an eye ages really well.
And he's like one of the best base runners in all of MLB.
Same base runner, gets on base, bigger bases now. We're gonna be aggressive. Just got to keep that
bigger bases.
Up, is he? Do you think he? Well, is he cool to DH or do you think he's?
I don't know. I think he doesn't like to because he said like it like disconnects him from the game and stuff. But like, I guess it's just kind of like if Mitchell pops, Cheerio pops, Yelly pops, and say,
Sal's
I don't know, like Sal plays better. Even like Perkins was like really pretty solid. Like he's really underrated. Like no, not like defense, right? I think he's super underrated defense. Like I think they say like he's our best defender on our team. Like just even better, like overall, like best defender. You could make an argument for. But like his bat, like he walked a lot, steals. Like he just did everything. Like he was just a solid guy,
240, 316 on base. I mean, his OPS plus was 81, so it's a little low, but but a 1.8 WAR. I honestly think he's like one of the best defenders in baseball. Like period. I think he's right. Period. I think he was up there with Trout for defense last year. Which is kind of hilarious. He had all the robs too. It was so awesome last year. So I mean, I think he's gonna do it again. It's so nice, like when you have a guy like that back there, because like he's so comfortable too. We talked earlier about Josh Allen. Like when you see a ball getting rocked and and you're running at the wall, some guys don't have the ability to like just breathe and like feel the wall and make the jump at the right time. It's just like such an insane, the crowd's loud. It's like, it's like this moment of kind of chaos. And I feel like Perkins, he just is very comfortable in those moments. Like I think it kind of excites him. He's like, oh, I can go like steal this. And he made some incredible robs last year. I think he had like 4 in a year, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right, Durbin, 82 games. Okay.
So it's kind of like Paredes a little bit, right? Where you just see like just pull happy guy, and that's where he can tap into his power. Because like his max EV 107, which is kind of interesting because it's like if you're a guy that's like 110, 111, like just 4 miles an hour like makes such a difference, Like it does. An average EV 83, not great. But like batting average, WRC plus, good. Like ex-Woba, like he definitely outperformed his metrics, but I think this is kind of a case of like Brady's where like his profile is unique on what he tries to do, and like the system tries to like make it so it's like okay, like if you're like it doesn't appreciate uniqueness. So I'm more leaning towards like 81st percentile Woba. Like I think that's kind of what he is rather than the 62% expected Woba. But the K rate is elite. In the whiff. So it's like just great contact guy. I think he's also really good at steals too. I don't think this doesn't show it, but
steals last year. He was like setting a record or some shit.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, this guy just basically seems like a Terang, but with actually pop, and like if that's what you can be, maybe you're training a little bit of the defense for that, but like you're Terang with pop, like that's great. And I guess he'll be seen to be like, can we just have a baseball team be super successful with just speed, like guys like that, just speed, OBP? And I think you can, but it's just like when it comes to the playoffs, like you have a home run, it just changes the game instantly. Like I think it's kind of hard where it's just you have to like just it's like being a really good running team in the NFL, like if you stick to it, even though you probably shouldn't stick to it, but even if you really do, I think you can be successful. But it's just a harder path to be successful than if you can just hit nukes, you know?
Yeah. I think it makes sense for the team we're trying to build, though, and like
Yeah,
cost and everything.
yeah,
Because so much like the power hitters get all the money, right? So what's
yeah.
interesting to me though, like you look at this team, like Bryce Terang, Garrett Mitchell, Sal, Durbin, Ortiz, Yelich, the amount of stolen bases potentially
Yeah, we're
there
gonna
is
steal a fuck ton.
crazy. So, and if you think about it too, with the bases being big, and those guys are very successful base runners, like a single is almost a double. And
Yeah.
I know you got to do two. You got to put two and
Or a
two together.
walk, right? A walk.
But like you get a walk, so pretty much you get on base, you steal second, and someone can just like slap you in. Like you're getting
Yeah.
runs. I think we can be pretty damn successful. I think and then playing great defense. Honestly, shifty eyes, Kansas City Royals vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And they want it all. Like
Yeah.
big time. Yelich is low Kane. Woodruff is Granke. Like I think and then we still got a little bit of pop, hopefully with Reese Hoskins. That was kind of why we signed him. Like we need him to hit 30 homers. I think Yelich definitely like if he's healthy, he's definitely.
I mean, he was like, I think we're kind of forgetting how like fucking good he was last year in spurts. Like he looked like he was fucking back. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. He like it wasn't. Yeah, I'm excited about him. It just sucked that we had to turn him down for like the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh my god, imagine we have him in the playoffs. You know, like and like Devin Williams. You know, like and it's like okay, he just has one extra home run that thing, and then like Devin. I don't know. Like it's just kind of like the Packers where.
Yeah,
like that's why sounds there. Just has to break right, you know. Just has to break.
But you got to take bites because you can't go all in, and then you like have some shit happen, and then you're like, oh well, that was our one 10-year chance. So,
like, I'm actually really glad we don't have Devin Williams anymore because it's just like, just the postseason. It's like hater. Like once you have a superstar closer, I think they get in their head and they think they're better than they actually are. You know, like having like a McGill, like I think that's. Yes, that will play. Or like a Yoho dude with just like his insane like break. Like he has like it's like 40, I think it's like 40, is it 40 inches? 40 inches of break, which is like it's like insane to think about. Like I think it's almost double the next guy like there. Like it's just it's so filthy.
Yeah, that is freaking insane. Okay. Contreras, we can do it through Contreras. Last one, Contreras. He's 295 batting average, 377 on base, 507 slugging, 142 OPS plus. These are 80th percentile, which is straight up beast mode. And then his 20th percentile is 244, 407 slugging, 104, 2.9 WAR. So I mean, he's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
regardless, I would say. And he's the best hitting catcher in baseball. He plays almost every day. So yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be awesome. I'm not too worried about him. And then
look at Monasterio here. That's kind of funny.
Oh boy, Monty's my boy.
Yeah,
Monty was kind of clutch at times, man.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, every team needs a Make-A-Wish.
It's nice to have him like when guys are going to get hurt. You're going to have to battle through shit. Yeah. Like he's a nice piece. He's a little older. Reno Delgado.
I think like Vinny Capra though being our like just in terms of like 80th percentile WAR. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess even Sal Frelick being our like 5th best player, which is I don't know how I feel about that. That's just
more than
I guess because his defense is really good. Yeah, but like Vinny Capra being this high. It's kind of like not good, you know. Like,
it's
like if everything breaks right, and then like this is what you could be. You're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
dude.
6.
That it's a little depressing. Yeah, it's a little depressing where Reese Hoskins is in this list. What number is he?
All the way down here.
11,
Andrew Montesterio is worth like kind of almost worth more than Reese Hoskins. I mean, it's not because like. But like, but like Montesterio is ranked higher than Reese. Like Cooper Pratt is just below Reese Hoskins.
Isaac Collins is above Reese Haskins.
Yeah. Montesserio is above Reese Haskins. Fucking Luke Adams is above Reese Haskins.
I
So
mean,
like that kind of puts like some cold water in the
look at all those
situation.
guys right in there, and like you look at like Capra or Luke or Durbin or Bove or Black, like, dude, we got so many guys that are just like right there looking to break out.
Well, and they're not playing first base though, so it's like because this war tanks.
Yeah, but
because
I'm saying for third base though, like that's exciting that we got like 5 kind of legit dudes that are going to be battling out and like pushing
even
each other.
Hicklin.
And like we're set up pretty well right now for just like sustained success for a little bit here. Yeah. It feels a little bit Packersy, like a lot of depth on this team, like but we just need like a couple of those guys
superstars
take it to the next level. Yeah.
Well, all right, let's go to. I also like this guy, Jadhir Ramemo. Like he's just like he has like a kind of a crazy swing, but just really good defense, pop. I don't know. Like I think in like second base guy, like he's definitely a guy to watch for. Like younger. Here, I'll pull up his thing if I can.
Is Eric Brown Jr. like?
Nah, I don't know. I think he seems like a turd to me.
We're out on him. Our first round pick.
I'm out on him.
3 years ago.
I'm out on him.
Let me pull it. Yeah, he had a 531. Oh, a 531. Yes, yikes! 262 slugging and 185 batting average.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. Real out on Eric Brown Jr.
Does he have the funky bat swing still?
Yeah.
He's probably trying to fix it. Jesus.
Yeah, he's and like,
another great pick.
Yeah, check there. But Chatter was, maybe this hasn't loaded because I think he was like, it hasn't loaded.
2022. Drafting in baseball is a bitch, I will say so. But nice to get someone.
This Josh Adam Mazuski guy is pretty good. This will load. This guy's also pretty good too.
So we drafted Drew Gilbert went right after us. That's interesting.
Yeah, look at this Josh Mazuski guy. So much red. 19 years old.
Oh wow.
So like just no one fucking knows about him. I mean, only 33 at bats, right? Like maybe he did more rookie ball, but even then, like
171 WRC plus is crazy.
I know. And like chase, walk, K, little bad, swing. The whiff is a little concerning, but like and again, it's only 33 at bats, so it's kind of like whatever. But 171 WRC plus, like we just have like what you're saying about depth. Like there seems like there's, and I think it's like you play to your level and like either you become NMB players. I don't know, right? But there's just some dudes that are just. Like you just see them, and maybe it's like this new thing is like a bad thing because it just like you see all that red and you're like, holy fucking Christ, like I don't know. We just have a lot of like good players.
Very solid, man. It's exciting. What we've done like recently, I will say, Mark Anazio, like just building our organization has been pretty incredible. Just like full organization. Like the international has gone to a whole different level. Like our scouting is a whole different level. Braylon Payne, how's he looking?
Oh my God. So like he's awesome. So I'll get to him. So like this Jahir guy, right? Like fucking 21 years old, high A, which is kind of a big step. Like A to A plus. It's a really big step. Yeah. The K rate only 11%, average 301, still has some good pop. Apparently his defense is supposed to be really good. He might be able to stick at short, go to second base. Nice. But yeah, just all around. And look at that, like spraying everywhere, just doubles, home runs. Yeah, I think he has potential. I think he's one of my guys to watch out for. Braylon Payne, 19 years old, and
he's like some of the fast as hell.
Yeah, like 70 grade run. Look at that. 98. 16 at bats, right? But like 98 percentile for WOBA, WRC plus 98 percentile. Yeah, hit 438, and he's fucking 18 years old at the time of this. 18 years old in single A. Like Jesus Christ. Yeah. And also
how you start.
Yeah, like in terms of contact rate, He was 81 percentile. So I think average I found is like 70th, like 70% contact rate. So already hitting at 81 at 17 years old at the time where this happened. Like you have like guys in like Diaz, like the Dominican Republic League, and he's already at A, not even rookie ball.
Yeah.
So not to mention 70 grade speed plus center fielder hit. Like I'm like I got sniped. I should have picked him. I just was scared.
Right.
I'm like I have to like sell the farm to get him, but I think it's worth it. Like he looks phenomenal, and you like add muscle that too.
I will say the one thing about our team is like not all these guys are going to be able to play. So say one guy becomes our third baseman, say Bev, right? Becomes the guy. Do you take like some of those guys who might get caught but have some potential and package them and then make a trade and go get a guy around the deadline?
Probably. Because our farm system seems stacked.
We're just so deep right now, and there's so many. Yeah. It's like I think you got to move because if you just hold on to them forever and then they just they're 26, 20. It's like you got to do something with them. I think if they're not going to don't you have to do something like if they're not going to play for the Brewers, you got to trade them, right? You don't want them just like let them cook someday. And it doesn't have to be a superstar; it could be just more prospects. But Benny Montgomery.
This guy I got in Dynasty, Framber Material. I like him a lot. But because like one thing that was like, oh, he doesn't have pop, but I remember it's like he hit like he had a 110 EV, which was like pretty surprising again for like a 17-year-old. This Brandon Antonio's guy I like a lot. That was in our recent draft class. He seemed like a stud. And Luis Pena being awesome. Kind of crazy. Made is already above Chiaro. Mizorowski, I don't know. I just don't think he could be a starter. Like he'll be a great bullpen guy, but like
okay with that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, doesn't he kind of have walk issues too? Anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's the issue.
Yeah, which is it's kind of like Uribe. It seems like
he's taking power up to 110 EVs.
Ooh, Jackson Merrill was picked like 12th after Sal Frelick. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to pitchers.
Yeah, let's talk about our pitchers.
So, who would you guess has like 80th percentile outcome best WAR for pitchers for us?
Our best? I mean, I would say Freddie.
It is Nestor Cortez.
Nestor motherfucking Cortez. All right, I love that.
Yeah,
honestly,
it blows my mind.
Pretty impressed by his stats last year, honestly.
Yeah. So he'd be a 3.7, Freddie 3.4, Toby. So it's kind of interesting, like on that Zips, like so 80th percentile WAR for Woody is 2.0, but then it was like 3.3 in the Zips. So like I don't know, I don't really get that. This Thomas Pignon guy, I don't even know who this guy is. I have no idea who this guy is.
And he's our fifth.
Fifth best WAR.
We should look him up. It's interesting too that Cortez's 20th percentile WAR is 1.4 still. Yeah, he seems like a guy who just like he doesn't get hurt, he doesn't throw hard, but he's kind of like funky. He's kind of like a funky figure, I would guess. I don't know. I think he's a good guy to have on your team. Like he's annoying when he's not on your team, but he's like a nice player.
Especially with our defense.
Yeah.
Gasser's. I think Gasser's out for this year. I think.
Like Cortez is going to be like and I kind of feel bad saying this, a high-end Colin Ray.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like reliable, like get deep into innings. Like probably injury risk is a lot lower because he's not throwing nasty shit, which I think that's pretty underrated thing to have, right? Where it's like if you can get outs without like abusing your elbow, that's great. That's great. Yeah,
sounds like more valuable nowadays.
Yeah.
Thomas,
this KC Hunt guy, he really popped in the minors. He's like better than fucking. The weird thing is, Mizorowski is like Mizorowski's all the way down here. which is kind of crazy.
Is it a depth thing or is it just people? I don't
I
even
think
know.
because Mizorowski just like points because it like I think it's just walks.
No.
It's just an issue, but it seemed like he kind of figured it out. I don't know because I think it's like they're projecting him to be a reliever, and like a reliever, like your ceiling is like McGill, right? 1.1 WAR. Even though because he has like a 213, like Uribe has a 198 like batting versus lefties, which is like the lowest 80th percent or like is this 80th percentile maybe? But like that's the lowest that we have, which is kind of even this Grant Wolfram guy. Jesus, 197. Like we just have just random studs out there.
Yo-ho.
Yeah, yo-ho.
Yeah, I'm really excited for spring training to come around and just like see what actually happens.
Yeah.
We're only like 2 weeks away. It's gonna be pretty freaking It's coming
fucking Wade Miley still 219 against lefties.
True sign.
I think we still have them.
Oh, do we?
Don't quote me on that, but I think we do.
I thought he was gonna be like our pitching coach.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it's I didn't think we had him, but maybe we did. Oh wait, maybe we. It says 1.5 million.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah. Oh, he's a free agent. No, that was a buyout. We bought him out.
Oh, we bought him out. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good for him. Good. I think he needs to retire. Said that injury was pretty rough last year.
Yeah.
So this Thomas Pannone guy, he was 7-7 last year. But like in AAA, between the Cubs and Yankees. Or no, he's 7-7 in his career. I don't know. He pitched for us actually for like in 2023. He pitched for us. I don't even know if he's on our team, honestly. I don't know. Weird one. He's 30 years old. That's like a super random. I don't know what happened with that chart.
Yeah. Vince.
ERA plus. Cortez 117, Freddie 110, Tobias 103. These are just projections. Yeah. So yeah, here it says Woodruff's WAR is 1.4. Gasser, Savale, Casey Hunt 90 innings.
Yeah.
107 plus ERA plus. Brian Hudson 118 ERA plus. It's crazy.
So we're talking about like that pitching plus earlier. So this is like the ranks of like last year. Kind of crazy. Carter Burns still number 2. Brandon Pfaadt, 4th best pitcher in terms of this stuff. Yeah, so I love him. What's some interesting stuff?
Crawford is 5th. That's kind of wild.
Logan Lutz, I know, right?
Kirby, Snowball.
Like, and the weird thing is Skeens. We're Skeens. Because Skeens is like, they're like, oh, blah, 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 Skeens. But he's fucking Nestor Cortez is better than Freddie Peralta pitching plus.
Nestor Cortez is better than Skeens at pitching plus.
Yeah. Where is Skeens? Did he not meet the innings? Maybe he didn't meet the innings requirement.
I thought he pitched. Did he not play
qualified? Do 50.
I thought he played.
Yeah, because now you get like relievers here. So Jacob Junis, fucking 16th best pitcher based on pitching plus.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I really would love to know like what numbers we really get, like what's our number that we're like, oh that.
Yeah, like what gets us going.
Yeah. Are you a Sierra?
Skill? Yeah, I like Sierra a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Where is Skeens?
Because Sierra takes into account like the quality of the hit, the location, the ballpark, the context, the.
Oh, Skeens 106 best pitcher. So do 100 innings minimum. We'll get starters. So in terms of starters with 100 innings plus, Skeens is 37th, just above Shota.
Interesting. Just above Shota, Eflin, and Garrett Crochet.
Yeah,
Crochet.
Crochet.
Oh,
Yeah, Crochet's not as good either.
that's kind of interesting because he was, yeah, I kind of wanted him, but I'm glad
Yeah.
not. We
Yeah.
probably wouldn't. That's interesting. What is
Garrett
this thing?
Jones.
This is
So it's
the
pitching plus. Yeah, so it's like this is just like taking stuff, location, and putting it together.
okay. Who's the filthiest?
Especially Schwallenbach.
Is number one Spencer
Yeah.
Schwalbe. Jared Jones, that dude is sick. Wheeler. Who's our
Yeah,
number one
but-
guy?
So for the Brewers, it's like I think it's Cortez.
Which is funny. He's like our
Oh, yeah.
fifth starter.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
he's 59th. He's better than Zach Gallen though.
He's just a 1 year deal, right? Like 1 year.
Yeah,
8 million,
yeah,
something else
yeah.
like
Well,
that.
it's Arb. Like 1 year left of Arb.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. I'm pumped. We'll do a little prospect deep dive full on someday,
Okay.
but I'm excited about this season for sure. I think should we do a little? You want to do any predictions or? Right.
So I think our like win over and under is like 83 games. So I definitely think over that.
Sure.
I don't know. I think the Cubs have gotten better. Like Tucker is crazy. Like Presley actually looks good, and like their bullpen was an issue, right? And they got like Presley. I think they traded for another bullpen guy or signed another one. So the Cubs, I think, definitely look like the team to beat. The Pirates are kind of like supposed to be sneaky good. They're like one of those like under the like people under the radar. Like I guess the guys that like seem like they really know baseball, like really predicted the Pirates to be good last year and kind of predicted to be good this year. Like their pitching looked pretty filthy. And they have like another like Bubba. He's like a minor league guy that looks really good. So they could kind of have the best rotation in baseball. Things kind of go their way. And then you get like really good outcomes with O'Neill Cruz. But just like in pitching or hitting, like they need more bats, and they don't seem to like pay for it, and like they don't really have like good farm Pirates that I know like aren't on top of the list. Cardinals seem like they're definitely trending down. But they have some young talent, like Mason Walker could be a superstar. Yeah, Walker. Like
this is kind of interesting. This is the Cubs zips, and like 4.9 for Swanson seems kind of high. I know he's a good defender, but and then Horner at 4.3 is a lot too.
Yeah, Nico, because I was going to trade for Nico, and he's just so good at like not striking out and putting the ball in play. Like steals, like he's just really good at like everything but like hitting the ball hard, which that plays like they're kind of like the Cubs are kind of a version of us, like
I know, they're just a slightly more expensive version of it. Like they're
just like more expensive version of us. I mean, I think their catcher situation is I think they didn't really solve that, and if I was them, I would have loved them to I would have gone out and like try to get I don't know like an Ohapi or I don't know like a good trade like all those picks for a catcher. Because they have a lot of farm stuff, and it's like I think they could actually be a team this year, but their catcher I think will like doom them. But I guess like you just have a good defensive catcher, and I don't know how good their catcher is, but like shit, like Bart is gonna have the same WAR as what Amaya. So
I didn't know McCutcheon was still playing. 0.7, that's not really the greatest. Hayes, 2.5, Reynolds. I mean, you're looking at this now, it actually looks a little rougher than I was thinking.
Yeah, like their rotation looks good. It's just
Jones, Skeens, and Keller is pretty sick. And Oviedo.
Yeah.
Their relief is not great.
Yeah, Bednar had a really bad year last year. Oh, Strzelecki is on them. That's interesting.
Is it Henry Davis on their team or no?
Yeah, right.
Catcher.
Oh, guess maybe not anymore. They got Joey Bart, which is kind of funny.
What happened to Henry Davis? Did he go where?
I don't know. They got DFA.
He got
games.
Okay.
Yeah. Like O'Neill Cruz could be a superstar. Like his batted hit stuff is like it breaks the league how good it is. But he just Like he's kind of like Ellie De La Cruz, actually. Yeah, look at
Yeah.
that.
Very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, 114 LPS plus isn't the greatest, but maybe like having him in center field too just gives him a little more like freedom to
Yeah.
mash a little bit. 80th percentile, 282, 519 slugging, 134, 4.5
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
And the Horowitz, Gonzalez, Reynolds, like things could break right for him. Even that Andy Rodriguez was like a top guy. I guess they do have Henry Davis though.
Yasmani?
Oh, Yasmani. Yasmani was so bad last year.
I didn't know they had Yasmani.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
That's kind of wild. And then
It might not be updated.
the
It
Reds
still showed us with Ray.
The Reds aren't too bad. They're kind of like going for it, like kind of being aggressive. I mean, they're looking at, let's see. I do like Hunter Green. I think he's going to be good. Spencer Steer, Ellie De La Cruz, 5. That's pretty damn good.
And McLean.
McLean 4, yep. Matt McLean, Spencer Steer. Their outfit used to be a little bit better. I feel like it's kind of fallen off a little bit. Steer,
I guess Steer just seems that 1.6 is kind of surprising for him because like I thought he was going to be like projected to be really good. So
it seems like he's just kind of like a jack of all trades.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it'd be interesting to go down and look at like what they project him to do.
Well, their bullpen's -4, which is kind of wild. Oh, you passed him. Or no, keep going. Yeah, keep going.
How do you get negative on that?
Yeah.
So Ellie's 80th is 291 with a 537 and a 138 OPS plus. Wild though, and McLean is 130. Wild to think about though. Like Yelich's 80th percentile is like pretty much Ellie De La Cruz.
Exactly.
I know Ellie's like flashy and he's fun and he's like 6'7".
He plays shortstop,
steals and shit. But I mean, Yelich is right there, man.
I don't think Ellie's that good of a defender. Like he overthrows a lot. Like I don't know.
He just has a gun. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it just looks sexy.
Cooper Bowman, Will Benson. Actually, Will Benson.
Yeah,
kind of surprising. I thought
like
he'd
a
be
Tony Kemp. That's not the one I'm thinking about, is it? No.
Dean up, right? Isn't Tony Kemp really good defender?
Yeah,
like
Dunn.
Yeah, they're kind of real. Yeah, I feel like they got some like a couple top end guys, but they're not deep at all.
And bullpen, just being -4 bullpen. Like that will kill you.
How do you not? Yeah, and it kills you in the worst way. Like that's
just like a really bad way to have your team. Yeah.
That was the best thing about the Cubs last year was they would blow so many games.
Yeah,
so it was like they'd be happy for the first 6 innings, showed up like insane. And they were just like fucking just destroy.
Especially for Craig. I think that's even better because it was for Craig. You know,
it had to just be so. And then you trot out for the press conference and like, oh, here we go again.
Here we go.
I kind of like Lodolo. I think he's a little bit better. I mean, he's like a solid. He's not like your flamethrower or anything, but he's just a solid like pitcher. I don't know. He's kind of like a Nestor Cortez a little bit.
Yeah.
Contreras. Suiter's on the Reds. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, went back.
All right. Sweet, man. I think definitely over 83, and I mean, I think it's going to be us and probably the Cubs battling out for the division unless things go really well for the Pirates. But I don't know. I don't think they're deep enough to handle with us, and I like our depth. I'm pumped to see who kind of comes out of spring training, but maybe we'll do like a little dive into spring training and projections and everything that goes there. But Pro Bowl this weekend, probably not going to watch because it's the Pro Bowl.
I didn't even know it was a Pro Bowl.
I think it's always a week before Super Bowl and then Super Bowl in 2 weeks. So it's a little bit of a dead time. Going to Paris on Monday, spending a week there. Lauren's birthday next week. And that's life. How about you? Good?
Yeah, all good.
All good, man. All right.
Good pod.
Episode 9. Peace out.
Peace out.